So I have a question for you. What's the best email marketing platform for creators? It's ConvertKit. It combines powerful automation with an easy-to-use interface. The heart of their business is their visual automation tool that allows you to deliver the right message to your audience at the right time. They have pre-built landing pages and forums, so creating and sending out copy is extremely easy. I personally use it with my business when I'm doing webinars. And you can use it too. Right now, we have an exclusive offer for you. ConvertKit is giving you a freemium membership with full access to the landing pages, forums, and email marketing for free, up to 1,000 subscribers. They are one of the only platforms that allows you to add your Facebook pixel to it for free. It allows you to create automation, and it allows you to get the ball rolling with your business. And of course, it integrates with Shopify, Wix, Squarespace, Gumroad, and a ton of other platforms. So what you're going to do is you're going to hit the podcast description and click the link there to get you to this freemium account. It's an amazing service, so make sure you try it out, guys. Let me know how it goes for you. I want to know. All right, let's get into the show. And one thing you said actually that really struck a nerve with me in a good way was that you give up on the hustle culture. Mm-hmm. You know, that was like a post you made on Instagram a while back. Mm-hmm. You know, let's dive into that.
I was the advocate.
Inspired
I was the CEO, the advocate. Like I've team no sleep for many, many years because that's how I was conditioned at home. You know, hitting revenue goals. Besides expanding my team, I didn't lay off anybody. I made that conscious decision not to lay off anybody because they were with me when I had nothing. So we're going to rock this shit together, right? We're going to figure it out.
Vendors, and just exchange notes and then perhaps connect later on a call and see if there'll be a great fit for the podcast. Cool. And also just learn from the speakers, like, you know, predominantly like the real estate, how they're doing it down there. Mm-hmm. So it's really like eye-opening just to like pick up those gems on how you can get into real estate with no money. Because sometimes you have a conception of what you can do with real estate, but you can actually get started in many different ways.
I think people make it seem like, oh, if you, like, it's really, really hard. Like, it just takes a lot of there's a lot of moving pieces to it. So, but I don't think it's the only way to build wealth.
Most definitely. What do you think are like the top ways to build wealth in your opinion? Like when it comes to the ways that's been presented to you,
I'm looking into like trading.
Stocks,
that's like really intriguing to me. There's a lot of there's a few groups specifically geared towards Black women. So I think that sometimes it can seem very intimidating, but when you join a community of women who are doing it and learning at the same time, it makes the transition smoother. So that's probably going to be my next step.
I'm trying to get into that too. I've been getting into the Master Investor, you know, on socials, and I'm like, all right, this is probably the next step that's going to help me really get to the next step.
I just want my primary focus. So here's the thing, right? Everyone wants to get rich or wealthy, right? But my primary focus is actually building a solid business first. Then I will dibble dabble into other things, but like my business is my baby. That's my bread and butter. That's how I'm able to feed families and communities and employ other people of color, Black people. Like this is where my focus is, and then I will expand and move my attention elsewhere. But I think too many people don't stick to anything long enough to master it, and so their attention is just like so short-lived in 100 different places. So once I do feel confident in like where we're at with the business. This year we're going to hit $500,000 in revenue. And every year since I've started, year after year, we've done exceptionally well. But yeah, like I'm really trying to scale it to the $1 million mark. And then, you know, I'll figure out the rest of my life.
Talking about focus, Pauleanna, right? You said that you don't want to dabble in a lot of things, and you're one person who speaks about building wealth, creating multiple streams of income. This is like your brand. When did you realize that perhaps I need to scale it back a little bit and just focus on one thing and go all in before doing any other things that could be deemed as quote unquote distractions?
From the jump, I knew, okay, so before business, I was an athlete, right? And so I was a competitive swimmer for 11 years. And then I was a soccer player at an elite level for 6 years. And so when you're in high school, you might be on volleyball and football and rugby and golf and all these things, right? And so what I noticed the difference is when I was in school and on all these sports teams, you know, I was very drained. I was tired. It was hard for me to focus on my schoolwork because every night I had practice somewhere or, you know, I had to focus my attention somewhere else. And so outside of school, when I would focus on one sport at a time, right, 11-year stint and then a 6-year stint, I was able to excel at a very high level. I mean, when you're a competitive swimmer, the only goal is the Olympics, right? And so when I got into business, for me, I just think that it was like such a heavy weight to carry to, you know, do 6 different things at once. I wanted to get really, really good at one thing. And I think that it's so funny in conversations with peers of mine, they'll often ask, so girl, what's next? How can I support you? What are you excited about? Like, I'm excited about being really good where I am, right? I'm not really thinking about the next thing. I mean, it's in the distance. But my primary focus is to be an authoritative voice in my industry. I want my name to come up whenever there's a conversation about my industry. And I think to have a really strong referral-based business, right, which I think is, like, you know, the best marketing, you have to be known for one thing really well. If someone hears your name, and we all know someone who does 6 different things, but really does nothing. You know what I mean? And so when people hear Pauleanna Reid, they affiliate that with excellence. They affiliate that with a leader. They affiliate that with ghostwriting, with communications. And so I want to make sure that that stays strong.
Nah, that's so solid. And one thing you said actually that really struck a nerve with me in a good way was that you give up on the hustle culture. You know, that was like a post you made on Instagram a while back. You know, let's dive into that.
I was the advocate.
Inspired
I was
you?
the CEO, the advocate. Like, I've team no sleep for many, many years because that's how I was conditioned at home. My father, growing up, like, he didn't go to sleep unless he felt like he deserved it after a hard day's work. You know what I mean?
He's militant like that.
So, like, I just naturally, I followed suit. In my 20s, baby, I could bounce back 2 hours sleep, 4 hours sleep. But as I got older, rest is now a part of my business strategy. You know what I mean? Like, it's now integrated into the decisions and the choices that I make. I've built my reputation and my portfolio to a point where I can say no more than I say yes to opportunities. You know, I think that I always preach about tapping into our childlike wonder, right? And keeping that inner child alive. And I think that it's really important to understand that in order to thrive in business, I think, like, the most successful business leaders follow their curiosity. They're still imaginative. They're experimental. And all of those things were fostered when we were kids. And so, like, in order to continue to nurture that, you have to do things outside of the office. You have to take classes. You have to hang out with different social circles. You have to do things that scare you, right? So my focus and my emphasis is on work-life integration and not necessarily balance.
Work-life integration.
Yeah, so, like, making it a part of
That's refreshing.
making it a part of my routine, building it in my calendar, being intentional with how I use my time. Every single day between 3 and 5 is uninterrupted time for me. No matter what, phone is off, computer's off, and I get to choose how I want to spend that time. So really just blending it in and making it part of a lifestyle, not feeling that I have to do it's this or that. They're together.
Interesting. Man, okay, cool. I'm gonna look into that. I've never heard that.
Work-life integration. That is.
You know who said?
Yeah, it's a new
That's
one.
You know who I got that from? Jeff Weiner, who was the CEO of LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Okay, most definitely. Awesome. Well, one thing we didn't even say is, firstly, thank you for joining us on our 100th episode.
100 episodes,
God.
exciting.
It means a lot.
Take that in, 100 episodes of every Monday. You know, you talk about showing up, Pauleanna, like showing up every single day. Like, that is how we feel, like consistency. We didn't even think, you know, it was crazy because I was like, hey, bro, we're approaching 100 episodes. And I'm like, really? We are? And then here we are. every Monday, there's times we felt like we couldn't even drop a piece of content. We're like, we gotta deliver. We gotta do some research. We gotta deliver, no matter what. So
stay committed.
we're extremely thankful for having you here, and it's been amazing seeing your journey over the past 12 months since we last connected. You talking about like your goal of going to 500K. As you reflect from the last time we spoke till now, what are some steps outside perhaps the revenue growth that your business has gone through that you'd like to share with our audience?
What are some steps that I've taken to achieve that goal?
Yeah, some step. Exactly.
Whew. Okay. So I think when you first start your business, it's very natural to operate in organized chaos. But at a certain point, when you have 2 feet on the ground and you're anchored, you then have to, what the kids say, you have to start adulting, right? You got to take your shit seriously and tighten up in multiple areas. So I focused on, I hired an SEO analyst, right? That was a new investment. I sat down with my lawyer and I tightened up on all my client agreements, the NDAs. I have an NDA for business and I have an NDA for my friends and peers and social circles, right? I also fired my accounting team and hired a new one. So I have a new accountant, new bookkeeper, advisor, CFO. And honestly, it was just a matter of looking at my business and seeing where I could do better and seeing where I could invest more money to get to achieve a specific goal. I think sometimes in the beginning, you may cut corners or you may be conservative with your budget because there's just so many tools and things to invest in. But I'm now in a position where I'm quite comfortable. So I had to reevaluate. And so one thing I want to say with the money team, the team that got you to where you are may not get you to where you want to be, right? So, my team was fantastic and they got me to a very comfortable space. But I needed a team who had vision. I needed a team who was very comfortable working with larger numbers, millions of dollars, moving them around. So that was very bittersweet. That was very bittersweet.
Going through that, transitioning to like the people you need. Jack Dorsey, CEO of Twitter and Square Calls, he had like an article actually on, funny enough, on Forbes. He spoke about editing. Like when he looks at his team, he doesn't fire people. He doesn't like that term. He looks at editing. Like everything is all about edit. Your life is all about edit. It's still the same product. You just got to edit it out to continue building it up. You've built bonds with these individuals over time to get you where you are. How was that like letting them go to take that next step? Because us entrepreneurs, we come up with people, but sometimes, hey, it's time to go on and, fly off the ledge, grow our wings and take the next step. What was that like for you to let them go as you see this new horizon coming up that you gotta like go to?
It's not personal. And that's a lesson that I've learned over time, because your heart is really in it. And I've seen some interesting Twitter threads lately around not calling your team family members, right? And just understanding that they are employees, right? And they have a job to do. And so that's an interesting thing I'm trying to process. Because these are relationships and these are people that know all of your business, all of your numbers. It's intimate. But honestly, like at the end of the day, collectively we have a goal. And I think honestly, it was a mutual decision. I think they were self-aware enough to know that it was time for us to part ways.
What else has been some of the highlights of going on with you over the last year?
Oh my gosh, what has been some of the highlights besides?
Yeah, you went viral actually. You ended up on the Shade Room for
You're on
falling in
relationship, Clubhouse.
Oh my God. You know what?
Talk about that.
You know what? No one ever plans on going viral, right? You share your life. Those of us who are great storytellers, that's just a natural part of what we do. And so I took the opportunity to share an experience that happened to me. It went viral on Twitter first, then it went viral on Instagram, and then a lot of different publications and whatnot picked it up. And there's a lot of really good lessons here. Number one, just being open and transparent. I think, with the pandemic, I think that audiences no longer care about your greatest accomplishments. You know what I mean? They want to feel and experience joy. They want to know that there's light at the end of the tunnel. They're dealing with all kinds of shit. And so like nobody cares about like your revenue numbers, or nobody cares about like, you know what I mean? Like what kind of car you just got. Like they want to feel something, love, joy, happiness, excitement. So those glimmers of hope, you know, I talked about my mental health journey. This time last year, I was hella depressed, to be honest. I talked about finding love. I talked about developing new friendships, subscribing from hustle culture, spending time with family. My content was a little bit different. Of course, like I'm still in the gym killing it. I'm still, you know, doing my boss shit. But I definitely, I was posting less because I was being more intentional with what I was posting, because I didn't want to easily trigger. And my narrative can come across very assertive, very aggressive. And so I just, you know, I definitely, one of the highlights I'll say is being a more compassionate leader. I think that's really important. I was definitely a more compassionate leader. I was listening more than I spoke, asking more questions, doubling down on conversations in my DMs with my audience, getting to know them, where they're at in their life. That was probably my greatest highlight of last year, besides, you know, hitting revenue goals, besides expanding my team. I didn't lay off anybody. I made that conscious decision not to lay off anybody because they were with me when I had nothing. So we're going to rock this shit together, right? We're going to figure it out. So I would say like that probably brings me the most happiness, is knowing that I built my emotional intelligence and self-awareness to reach that point.
Wow, that's huge. It's a lot of self-development there. So for entrepreneurs that, you know, were in the space that you were in last year, you know, a little bit more down, and they're working in their silo with their few employees, what advice would you have for them trying to get to that next step?
Depression is one hell of a beast. It's not easy. I mean, I was diagnosed with depression in 2010. And I honestly, for the last decade, I thought I had that shit handled because, you know, I've done the work, I have the formula, been on medication, do the therapy. My doctor was white, rich, famous. So he was able to, you know, I had a line bypass, you know what I mean? Like, so I was able to do all the things and expedite my process to getting to a healthy point. And then the pandemic hit, and like, it's like, I was pulling at straws. I didn't even know where I was, who I was dealing, like, it was just a lot for me. I was very overwhelmed. But I always say the only way I know how to climb out of any hole I'm in is gradually, right? And I didn't pressure myself to take on more than I could handle in terms of workload. I leaned on my team. I think oftentimes, like, we build a team, but we don't lean on them. And so instead of micromanaging, I told them, I was very transparent with where I was at. So I was communicating with them, over communicating with them. And then I trusted them to do the job that I hired them to do, right? I think as a CEO and founder, our job is to grow the business. Your team's job is to maintain it. So trust them to do that, right? And so the other thing I'll say is, you know, building a business that has the infrastructure and the systems in place so that you can walk away and not feel guilty, not feel like things are going to fall apart. So I was very, very happy that I had done that up until that point so that I could take breaks and I could take breathers. Finally took a vacation. I hadn't taken a vacation in over 5 years, a real vacation, no laptop, no phone. I think I posted one video for Instagram. That was it. I went to Costa Rica. And so, yeah, like, be very patient with yourself. Now, I'm in a privileged position where I have people that I can lean on. I have a team, right? But for people who may have smaller teams, or maybe they're a freelancer, and I mean, you have to work to pay your bills, but maybe that same work is triggering, lifestyle changes is what's going to help you, right? So like having uninterrupted time in your calendar, going for nature walks, working out, listening to music. I always have a dance party in my bedroom, you know, every morning, meditation, prayer, journaling. Like, you have to find what that formula looks like for you, because that formula is going to be different for everyone. And it's honestly a process of experimentation.
That's a big fact.
Big facts. Outside of your business, you're growing, you're becoming more of a prolific writer day by day, you know, as a Forbes writer. Where do you see that going as now that you've been in it? Like, I loved your article with Claude Silver, with Chief Heart Officer from VaynerMedia. Where do you see your next steps with Forbes going?
That's a very interesting question, because I believe that there are jobs and there are life assignments. Forbes is a job, right? It was the dream job at one point, but I think it's important to allow your dreams to evolve. And so I've been there for about 4 years, mastered it. I have a fantastic relationship with my editor, and I will be there until the wheels fall off, right? But my life assignment is to help people see beyond the limits of their circumstances. And I do that through various vessels, right? Speaking, consulting, mentoring, with, ghostwriting with my agency. And so that is really where my focus lies. I think my role as a journalist is to really amplify and provide a platform for Black voices and voices of color. And I will continue to do that until the relationship, nothing lasts forever, right? At some point, I will move on. Many of my friends have moved on from Forbes. I've been there, done that. They've moved on. I'll stay here for a while, another few years. And then honestly, that might be the end of my journalism career as I know it. Journalism this year, or in the last few years, has been very triggering for a lot of my peers because, when we write a piece, depending on what vertical, when you write a piece, you have to revisit triggering content, right? You're doing research, like it's very tough. And then on top of that, it's very, it's unstable. It's an unstable market, right? A lot of my friends have also been laid off. We've seen massive layoffs from publications in the last 2 years as well. So everyone's pivoting. Everyone's thinking about, what does communications look like? What piece of the pie can I attach myself to? What does life beyond my journalism career look like next?
No, that's real. Who has you excited? Which entrepreneurs are you looking at? I'm like, man, she's killing it. I can't wait to have a conversation with her. Like, who's on your radar right now?
If I said that, then it would totally ruin the surprise. But for me, who gets me excited? Honestly, like, I won't pin every single person that I interview. I carefully select. This is not something where I'm here to stroke your ego, here to help you put a logo on your website banner. Like, I carefully selected you because I believe in you. I got to know you. We have a personal relationship. Like, we took the time to really dig into each other's career history. And I know that this is going to catapult the work that you're doing. So every Black woman, every woman I select, it's because I stand with her, stand behind her, and I'm excited for her.
Can you make some suggestions?
See, Alex is being a good journalist here.
That we don't know.
No,
that we don't know.
Sure.
No, like handouts.
No,
like,
for sure.
like,
So
hey, we know this.
I have a story coming out with Kim Cummings. She's in the DEI space. She has a great book called Your Move, Next Move. Your next move should be your best move. Oh, shit, I just fucked up the title. Sorry, Kim. But she's someone that is so consistent. Here's the thing, right? A lot of people want to be featured in Forbes, but I look for history. I look for receipts. I look for a track record. You can scroll the last 200 posts for Kim. She is doing the work. She always shows up. She's consistent. She's doing all the things, the blog, the videos, the media, the podcast. Like, she's very committed. This is not just a gimmick. She's not a show pony. Like, she's very committed to making change. And so that is really, really important to me. So Kim Cummings, Kim Newton is someone who's also a veteran. She was at Hallmark for several years, making change at the organization. She stepped out on faith, and now she's a full-time entrepreneur. She's doing amazing things. And I do have a few other people up my sleeve, but I'll, leave that to a surprise.
That's fair. One person who I think definitely deserves a Forbes article, who have no relationship with, is Karen Chanel from Black-owned TO.
Okay.
If she hasn't got one already, that's who I think is someone that, without any relationship, I'm like, yo, she's killing it. She's about to have the store at Eaton Center. Nah, that's different.
I think that it's really important, and that's the thing, right? Like, journalists, we always have our ear to the ground. Like, we want to know who's up next. We want to know who people are talking about. And so I encourage people, like, if you have a goal to be featured in a specific publication, lean on your community, the community will do the talking. The community will tag me in the post. The community will forward it to my inbox, right? Like, lean on. There's been many a times where I've done a call out and 24 people will tag this one person. And I can tell that they have such Adrisha Hawk, actually. I can tell that she has such a strong relationship with her community because they are ridiculously obsessed with the work that she does. They're obviously paying attention. And, you know, they're there to really stand behind her and help her like a mini army.
That's big. That's big. I'm not going to ask again because we had it on our last podcast where we were, you know, you gave the tips for people to get featured on Forbes. So if you want that answer, make sure you go tap into that last podcast. You know what I'm saying? But as we work towards wrapping up, where do you see the company going in the future? And where do you see the landscape going in the future as well?
Yeah. So with my company, what's really interesting is I saw a psychic. Don't judge me.
Psychic.
Don't judge me. A psychic medium. It was really interesting. We had a dope conversation, and she said that I'm going to franchise my business. And I thought about it, and I kind of marinated on it. And I mean, the whole conversation was kind of woo-woo, but that one piece, you know, you have to take what's for you and leave the rest. That one piece, I was like, what can I do with this? And it really expanded my thinking. I really am curious what ghostwriting looks like in other parts of the world, right? And so I want to be the premier agency, ghostwriting agency that is called upon for world leaders. I would love to have offices in different parts of the world. I'd love to have employees who speak multiple languages. I'm marinating on like what expansion looks like. In North America, we're killing it. You know, we're one of very few, maybe one of two, you know, Black-owned ghostwriting agencies. So yeah, I'm thinking about what expansion looks like. I'm thinking about what ghostwriting looks like in other parts of the world. And I'm thinking about where I want to take my career as an individual. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to be at the helm of the company forever. I definitely want to build on my speaking career. I've been public speaking since 2012. I definitely want to build on my consulting career as a communications advisor. And honestly, my dream right now is to have a part-time teaching job at a university or college. I love classroom work.
Nice.
I love fucking shit up in the classroom. I love when students' eyes light up because I've said something that just blew their mind, because their teacher doesn't have the experience to even bring that shit to the table. And so that is what I'm working towards right now. I'm doing university and college guest lectures for absolutely free. I'm just building my experience, building my confidence in the classroom, because I can totally see myself down the line, definitely working closely with, it could be business communication, social media management, social media management. It could be journalism, English, the world is mine. So I'm just focusing on that.
That's big. That's big. Awesome. Yo, lastly, thank you again for joining us. You know, It means a lot. You know, when Pauleanna joined on, it was a step in the right direction.
You guys are doing great work.
That episode we did, Pauleanna, like I enjoyed listening to it myself. I was like, wow, this is a great convo. Like sometimes you're a fan. I'm like, I listen as a fan. I'm like, this was a great episode. So thank you for coming then and today as well.
And what's going on with your pod? Because you have the voice. You just be setting up on Instagram with a black screen and just talking into the screen, because you know she got the good voice.
Listen, like sometimes that's all you're gonna get, because I don't feel like doing the thing and the production and the lights and all the stuff, right? I do have a podcast. And the lesson that I want the audience to take away is some shit does not have to be for monetization. Some shit does not have to be for other people. Like, my podcast is a passion project. If you jump on and you listen to it, that's totally cool. But it's really just for me to just like store my experiences, just like my YouTube channel. So like, I'm not trying to be a YouTuber. I don't care about the views. It's my way of just like, I want to bottle up my memories. Right. So like pre-pandemic, I had a videographer following me and we documented the shit that I was doing. And now, I use it. I upload my speaking portfolio on there, but some shit can just be for you. So yes, I have a podcast. which is named after my agency, The Writer's Block. And we just pretty much chop it up with the team, document our experiences, talk about the random shit that happens to us, the cool people we work with, provide industry insight for writers who are coming up in the industry as well. And it's literally just a hub of what we've learned. And if you tune in, we're very grateful. And if not, that's cool too. It's not for everyone.
Most definitely. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up the podcast. This is our 100th episode. So
100.
So hustle is what you can control. So control your grind and control your life. I'm Alex.
I'm Owen Osinde.
And I'm Pauleanna.
Hey,
bang, bang.
She caught it. And that's Hustle Over Everything, y'all. Peace.
Peace out.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for listening. The conversation continues on our Instagram at 247hustler. We post very frequently. And be sure to check out our merch at hustleovereverything.co. We have some amazing sweaters, hats, mugs, and a lot more. Lastly, our Proud to Pay program is linked in the description below. Thank you so much for your support. Talk to you next Monday. Peace.